The opportunity to tell our story the way that only we can tell it. It's been in the vision of our leadership for generations.
Nobody wanted to build anything this grandiose. There was just no way. But this history of this tribe is just unbelievable.
It's in the center of where we really practice our culture and our traditions.
It's who we are today and who we've always been as the Pequot Nation.
It really is the essence of Mashantucket.
I remember when I was a kid, before the casino existed, about the dream of having a small museum on the reservation.
We had this pizza house down here, and a lot of people were thinking that would be the ideal place to put the museum. We don't need anything bigger than that.
When Foxwoods came about, the dream just sort of exploded into something far more comprehensive and large scale.
We did not want the building to really be the story. We wanted what was inside to be the story. So the exhibits were designed first.
We can look at 13,000 years of presence and really articulate that through these exhibits in a way that people understand that Native cultures and Pequot culture is not static, that it changes over time, that they're changing today.
We asked an architect to come in and to design the building around 11 exhibits. We knew what the sizes of the exhibits and everything would be, so they had a task. Some said, we've never done this before. So we were looking for the architect that could.
The museum sits on the edge of such a sacred place.
The connection between the tribe and this land is pretty profound. The Great Cedar Swamp is sort of the focal point of native life here for 12,000 years.
Pequot people survived because of that cedar swamp. So this museum, this location really captures that.
It's such an important place to show everyone that we are still here.
Our concept was that people walking through the door have all kinds of misconceptions about Pequot specifically, Native Americans in general. The very first image that you encounter when you walk into the exhibits, it's a portrait of the tribe in front of the old homestead. And you see a wide range of ethnicities, backgrounds. That's the tribe.
When our guests come to visit us, they are able to connect with the story of the Pequot Nation. You know, it's a story of resilience and strength and community.
To say that there's one single favorite exhibit is incredibly difficult because this entire facility is, one of a kind.
The village is my favorite exhibit in the building. It's a very important part of their story. And just watch the expression and wonder of the people as they walk in, they see this beautiful space.
I love that area and how we lived and fish and lived as a community.
This area right here is my favorite space. I like being surrounded by today's Pequots.
My favorite exhibit in the entire museum is actually the Almost Vanished film. That film really goes into some of the struggles of the ancestors that came before us.
There's an exhibit down below here that shows how the ice covered the northern hemisphere of the planet. And then we have that neat exhibit with the caribou hunt. Who were the first people? There's so much story there.
tribe, they live in a modern world, but they maintain a deep sense of their culture. And the Pequot Museum helps people to understand those changes across millennia.
The museum is such a treasure that it needs to be found, and that's what we're focusing on more than ever, is making sure that people are aware of the museum and the rich history and culture that we have to share with the world. It's better outreach and making sure that people know that the museum is here.
Finally, we're getting to the 21st century in this building. For a long time, we were living in the 20th century here. So that's really exciting for me to see this happening. It almost makes me want to cry. Sometimes it does make me want to cry.
What I've seen is, in the last few years, is the tribe has really stepped up. There's new ideas, and they want this to succeed, and it will.
2 generations ago, Pequot elders today had a vision to create what you see today. And the bones are incredible and they're beautiful. At this point, we have this new generation of leadership, of young leaders, and they're bringing that youthfulness to the museum, looking at it from a different perspective that's advancing us into the 21st century.
Our community has continuously been in relationship with this land that we call Mashantucket. Our history is being generated right now, today.
I would want people to know that we are still here, we're thriving, we're a community, and we're doing good things.
The people that work here, the tribal members and those of us who are not tribal members, really care about telling the story and sharing it with the public and the people around us. The Native American culture in this country is vibrant, strong, and alive, and has a lot to offer to what we know as a whole as a nation.
It's so much of the early makings of America, the foundation, what lies underneath there, the part of the story that never gets told.
It's a sense of community here. It's a place of gathering. It's proof of our continued existence, not just from a historical perspective, but, a current contemporary perspective.
Indigenous communities and culture are alive and thriving. When you look at the culture that's represented in this institution, it's unlike anything that you'll see in any other museum, quite frankly, in the country.